Hey, welcome back to Matter of Fact. Today we got for y'all Like Love Lock. We both did pretty decent last week, going 2 for 1. You know, it is what it
Or
is.
2 for 3,
Two for
2 out of 3.
4 for 6,
Yeah,
66.666.
right, right.
But I'm gonna kick us off, man. Um, I'm not trying to be too biased towards my fantasy team or nothing like that, but I do feel like the Cardinals have been winning some games that they could have easily lost. Give me the Dolphins here at -4 at home with Tua back. Um, Tyreek Hill, he came out and said, "Hey, start me. Season starts now." All that good stuff. Jalen Waddle, Devon Achan, all that. I just think this Dolphins defense is underrated. And I'm not really liking like Kyler. If you have him in fantasy, he saved you with that Russian touchdown again. That's like the second time he did that this season. A 50-yard scramble out the pocket. But in terms of being in the pocket, I'm not really in love with what I've been seeing so far. And I feel like the Dolphins probably feel, hey, despite how we're playing, the way this division shaping out, we're still in this season. We got Tua back at a good time, and I think this is a good spot for them because defensively they don't really have any pieces to write home about besides like Buda Baker. Who else they got? They got did, were they the ones that just scooped up? No, I'm tripping. Kaiser White,
West Virginia
but
legend.
yeah, they got Zayvon Collins. Yeah, they don't have like a crazy pass rush or anything like that. I think Tua will have time in the pocket. He will be able to navigate the pocket, get it open to Tyreek Hill. I mean, they're just due. They're just due, and I think the Cardinals. There's not a lot of science to it. I just think that, and you have to when it comes to betting, and throughout this whole week, there's a lot of quarterback changes. You have Jameis Winston in the division game against the Ravens. That might be a sleeper like letdown spot for the Ravens. You got to be careful with that one. You got Bryce Young playing for the Panthers. So make sure you really pay attention to those quarterback changes. This is the biggest one of the week to me. And yeah, give me the Dolphins -4. Like I said, not a lot of science to it, but that's what I'm rolling with. Next up, do I really want to do it? Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Where they at? Yeah. Um, Jaden Daniels or not? Give me the over here. Washington's defense has actually been performing pretty well recently. I know that was like a really weak part of their entire team and roster, just in terms of how they've been playing, but they've actually been playing pretty well. And that doesn't bode well for the over. But I think Caleb Williams and those weapons, they get it going. Um, I think Mariota, he's a vet at this point. They're going to lead the offense through the running game with Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler back there. And I think they create enough points. I mean, it's pretty low for a Commanders game, 43 and a half. I do think it would be closer to around like 46 if you were playing, but give me the over here. I think that just in terms of their weapons and these defenses, they this just goes over. Like once again, not a lot.
Well, this one started at 44.5, and it basically, you said it's at 43 right now.
Yeah, it's a 43.
Yeah, so it went down about a point and a half, but it's kind of stayed where it started out at the beginning of the week.
Yeah, I'm looking at injuries, see if there's anything that's really staring me off. Nope, not really. Yeah,
Do you,
so
do you look at do you look at Chicago's injuries? Kyler Gordon,
yeah,
Jaquan Brisker, or Jaquan Brisker. My apologies.
yeah, Brisker's pretty important. He's questionable. And like I said last week, you gotta look at these defensive injuries too. It's not all about the skill positions. That's really going to impact how these defenses are able to function if they have the depth to fill in those spots. But, watch out to see if Kyler Gordon and Brisker play. They're a major part of that secondary. But either way, like the over, I think Caleb Williams has a good showing. I think Marcus Mariota with those weapons and how what's his name? Used to play with the Cardinals. Not play with the Cardinals, but coach the Cardinals.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury. I think his style of offense, we saw towards the end of the Panthers game, Mariota was still able to do his thing. Obviously, this is a much better defense and just better built team, better just overall team. But I just think it goes right over. I could see this being like a 24-21, 24-20. Even then, that's going over. But I could see even going higher than that. And yeah, I wish Jaden Daniels was playing though. Would have been dope to see number one.
So is he out? Has he been ruled out?
I just feel like they're not gonna risk it. Like I just have a feeling he's not playing. But I don't think he's been ruled out yet, no. But if he does play, I like this play even more, obviously.
Right. I think a lot of people right now are waiting for that announcement if he's ruled out or not before they make their decision on this particular game.
Yeah, I mean that to me more goes towards who wins the game in the spread. But I think like they'll be able to churn out some points even with Mariota. It's not like a Tim Boyle Huntley situation like the Dolphins have over there, where they just completely the offense just can't function without the starting quarterback. So once again, taking the over. And my lock, this is my lock. I really like this play. Division game, so it's a little bit scary, but give me the Texans at home. CJ Stroud plays very well at home. Now, the Colts are 6-1 against the spread. And, I'm not really big on trend betting, but I think this Texans defense gives the Colts some fits. With Anthony Richardson starting, we could expect some turnovers here. I think the Texans take advantage of that. And that's part of the reason why the Colts are playing catch up in this one. Would love to have Nico Collins back, but even with Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell and Schultz and Joe Mixon proving like, hey, we might have to push that 27 little age, push that joint to like 30. You know what I mean? Earning that second contract, performing real well. We said
I'm gonna wait until we get till December before.
Yeah.
Before I'm running. Yeah, before I'm.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. We talked about that though. We talked about I think game 1 or game 2, he had like 30 attempts, and we were like, how sustainable is this? And then
that's what I'm saying. Like all the running backs. I mean, like they deserve their flowers for playing good throughout the season so far. But it's like, we're about to get into it. Like the drama's about to go down. It ain't, you know what I'm saying? We ain't there yet. So it's like, even with all of the backs, like they're playing well. They're more healthier than the wide receivers right now. But I'm just going to wait and see how this plays out all together before I'm stamping the running backs for this. This is
Joe Mixon might not have been the best example, but look at Derrick Henry, look at Josh Jacobs, look at Aaron Jones, look at Saquon.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. All running backs across the board are healthier than wide receivers right now,
which is pretty unusual. That's typically not how it is.
Yeah, that's why I said it's an outlier year. But I'm gonna just, you know what I mean. I'm gonna reserve my comments until I have more information, and then
even look at the Rams, bro. Look at the Rams. Kyron Williams been straight, yeah. And then Puka and Cooper Kupp, who. They've had their injury bugs. And usually Kyron's also a part of that, being a little bit injured. So, but
he's part of the outlier too.
Yeah, but 5, it's an interesting number. What do you think about the number? At home, they get 3.
Like these games, the last time they played, it was 29-27. You know what I mean? Like they played before then, but that was Gardner Minshew was the quarterback at that point. It was 23-19. So it is a division game, and they are getting Jonathan Taylor back, which does mean something. for the Indianapolis Colts. It even helps out AR-15. You know what I mean? So now he's a threat. Him running it or giving the ball off to Jonathan Taylor, that becomes a bigger threat than it was before when he was playing with sorry-ass Trey Sermon. It just is, you know? And I'm sorry for calling him sorry, but if you watched him play football, he's not that good at the game. So, you know, again, it -5, beating them by a full touchdown, basically. I don't know, you know, as bad as Anthony Richardson has been, he isn't necessarily turnover prone. He just isn't, you know, putting up numbers like that. So, you know, it's definitely an interesting game, and we'll see. But you know, you confident in the 5.5, and also what is Houston doing? Are they throwing the ball, or are they just going to be like, all right, I believe we can win this game, running it with Joe Mixon? We're just going to run the ball, ground pound, play solid defense, and get out of here. Because if that's the case, then you get a game kind of similar to what you got with the was it like 10-13, 10-16 with last week with Miami versus Indianapolis. Or Indianapolis was up 10, I mean Miami was up 10-0 and then they came back. But in this scenario, Houston would be the one with like 16 points and Colts would be the one just kind of playing
another reason why I like this -5. I just think CJ Stroud's due for one of those games where this is a reason why people are crowning him to be a top 5 quarterback going into this season. He's coming off a game where he had less than 100 yards, I think about 86. I think he's
got to throw the ball. They got to throw the ball. They have to want to throw the ball. You know what I mean? Like, again, I don't even blame CJ Stroud for the last game that he had. What is he supposed to do if he don't have enough attempts? You know what I mean? Like I already talked about this last week. Bobby Slowick he has the #1 rushing rate on first down. Every first down, he's running the football. And if they're getting yards and he feels like they can win running the football, I don't think he puts the ball in the air. You know what I mean? Like, I think that it's the coordinator that's making this call on CJ Stroud. I don't necessarily think it's something that CJ Stroud isn't capable of being one of the best quarterbacks. It's just like it looks like they're fine with winning the game with the running back.
Yeah, and then in terms of Anthony Richardson, I mean, he has 6 picks on the year. Let me see. Has he lost any fumbles like that? Is he fumbling?
I mean, he definitely had a fumble.
Right? Either way, I wouldn't be taking this if Joe Flacco was playing. Like, I just feel like Joe Flacco's the better option at quarterback, and he'd do better against his defense. I just feel like I'm kind of banking on mistakes to be made by this Colts offense, and the Texans taking advantage of that. So give me that -5, and that's my lot. So go ahead, and I know you got your shit ready.
Oh yeah. So for me, I'm keeping it a little simple here. Let me see how I present. Share screen. All right, so first one we rocking with, gonna keep it simple. I'm going with Tampa Bay at home underdogs +2.5. I understand they don't have, you know, the two of their best offensive playmakers playing, but what they do have is 3 solid running backs and an offensive line that is moving people against a defensive line that doesn't get any push at all. And then as for Baker, like, even though he doesn't have his security blanket in Mike Evans and also his security blanket out the slot with Chris Godwin, I don't think he's too concerned. He still has Sterling Shepard, who can do his thing in the slot if he has to. He has Trey Palmer, who has he's a 4-3 guy. He has speed. So you got to respect him on the outside. And they just drafted Jalen McCullum to kind of work underneath, or McMillan to work underneath or do whatever he ends up doing. But, you know, they still got weapons on offense outside the fact that Cade Otton is now going to be his new security blanket up the seam. So I think in this scenario, Tampa Bay, they come out with a nice defensive game plan for Atlanta. They play it similar to how they did the last game. And they just kind of just produce with Rachaad White. He'll probably be catching a lot of passes out the backfield. don't be surprised if he actually ends up the leading receiver on his football team. And then they still have a tandem. I know Bucky Irvin, he set out today for practice, but they still have Sean Tucker, who looks like every time he touches the ball, he's getting
And this is
between 4 to
Thursday, by
5.
the way, just in case you're watching this like Friday or something like
Yeah.
that. So he sat
Right.
out Thursday practice. Another thing, they're definitely going to be in one of my dog parlays because like that Atlanta pass rush, I think Baker's going to have plenty of time. And, I do like the
Right.
pick.
And and I don't even think, you know what I mean? Like they have to, like, I don't think that, I mean, it's definitely a plus if you have Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, but I still think that the way that this team is orchestrated with these stud running backs and some of the players that I guess the traits that their wide receivers have, I still think that they'll be able to produce enough points to get this W if their defense can give them a solid outing. And that's kind of more so what I'm banking on also.
Yeah, I just don't think Atlanta matches up well with them. But let me ask you this. Let's say Mike Evans and let's say they're both healthy, him and Godwin. What do you think this line would be at?
I mean, if they were both healthy, I think it's probably Tampa Bay -1.5. If they were both healthy,
at home,
at home after Monday, we're talking after the Monday game. Yeah, I think this line was probably 1.5, -1.5. I mean, these with both of the players there, they're equal team. You know what I mean? This is a pretty much an equal matchup. So, and they already lost one at Atlanta. I think this one being at home, they got to have it. Yeah, I think that the line moved about 3.5 points with the spread. And I'm just kind of taking the +2.5 here. And just depending on Atlanta kind of coming back to earth, they've had some good wins or lucky wins, whatever you want to call them, wins or win. And I think this is where they're starting to get that regression to the middle. Last week, I took Seattle, so I'm fading them again, taking Tampa Bay. Hopefully, I can hit 2 in a row, fading Atlanta. And then, so that was my like. And then my love right here, I'm going with well, actually, no. That's my lot. My love, the one I love the most. If Jayden Daniels, which I don't think he should play, if he's not playing, I do like Chicago to cover here. I asked you earlier, you know what I mean? I was like, yo, let me check the poll, see what the hell they talking about out here in Washington in regards to Jayden Daniels. I actually didn't even care for what the organization had to say. This time I wanted to know what the fans were thinking about because, I know like Washington, they're losers. They've been losers. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So they're itching. And I was just wondering if they like really want Jayden to play or if they're cool with him sitting this one out. And, I don't know necessarily how they feel, but I do think it's interesting. Some of the narratives that you were talking about, they're trying to defend him. And I don't think that you don't need to defend this guy. And the one thing I say to Washington fans all the time when we talk about their excitement in regards to Jayden Daniels, the one thing I say is, hey, just take care of him. I always say, just take care of him. And the first time push comes to shove, if they're over here trying to push him out here just because they want to go ahead and compete and they want to be a part of this Rookie of the Year narrative and all of that, I think that they're missing the point here. They're missing the point. Like, yo, who cares about this game in the grand scheme of things? If you think you got a franchise quarterback and he already has pulled a muscle or he did whatever he did, isn't it better off for him to just sit this one out, win, lose, or draw? It's a plus if y'all win. Get my man back right, healthy, and you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and compete for the rest of the season. Wouldn't that be the most optimal move for him?
Yeah, I think what you're also thinking about too is that game earlier in the season when it was like out of reach. And you know what's funny about that? It's like Todd Bowles was getting all that slack for the Chris Godwin thing, but at least that game was in reach. You know what I mean?
But it's hindsight 2020. Everybody has an opinion once everything is all said and done. You know what I mean? Which is why I'm like, yo, just take care of him. I want to say just take care of him before he even gets hurt. So when it does come to this type of situation where we do have this quarterback that, yeah, I get it. This is the game of the week. Come on, bro. They don't have game of the week. You know what I mean? They don't have games of the week and shit like that. So they're like, they want to play. They want to see him do his thing. And, honestly, if I were a future better right now, I would be smacking Caleb Williams rookie of the year odds. I would be smacking him because if he wins this game, he will be in the league for rookie of the year. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that little stuff like that kind of gets to the fan base. I don't know if it gets to the organization anymore because Daniel Snyder's not there, but I know it still probably gets to the fan base because they want the accolades. They want to see him compete against Chicago or whatever. But it's like, yo, if bro's not healthy, sit him. Let him sit. Let him get right so that y'all can compete for the actual division. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Because who really cares about rookie of the year at the end of the day?
Who cares about any of that? You know what I mean? And then you got him out there playing, and he don't care. As the quarterback, he's like all football players, they got heart. They're young and they got heart. So they're naturally gonna crash out. Yo, let's go compete. I'm gonna go toe to toe with Caleb. I'm about to show him what it is. Of course, he gonna have that mindset. But who in the organization is telling them, nah, we good. We don't care about none of that. We don't want you for this game. We want you for 10 years. And I just hope that that's the angle. Like, I just hope that they see that in this player. They got one. You know what I mean? So let's keep them for more than one game. But yeah, I think that Chicago's defense is able to pull this one out, and they'll cover this one pretty easily if Marcus Mariota is the quarterback. So this is the one that I.
So that's your love. So
yeah.
How do you feel about my over? Like, if we were to combine like our thought process here.
So me personally, I'm kind of okay. Washington is like 5-1 to the over, I think, on the season, or 6-1 to the over. So it's not a bad play. But
the only reason why I didn't hit last week is because they didn't have a dance partner with the Panthers.
Right. I think that this is a scenario where if Chicago, like, they'll, you know what I mean? Football coaches, these are both two run heavy offenses. Like, I always kind of say this. And then sometimes when you're playing two teams that their goal is to run the ball, and especially if Chicago gets up, I don't think they have a problem with just running the, you know what I mean? And I don't think that, like, if Jaden isn't playing, the one thing that we can say, yeah, Mariota might have did his thing against Carolina, but Mariota still doesn't have that deep ball that Jaden Daniels does. Jaden Daniels turns methodical drives into one play drives. You know what I mean? And I think that is what contributes to them always smacking the over. And I think without him playing, I think Marcus Mariota is definitely going to still be able to move the ball. But I think that they're also going to be running more. They're going to focus on using Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. And also on the other side, I think that Chicago is going to really want to incorporate DeAndre Swift. He's been playing well over the last 3 weeks. So I think if it doesn't get to the over, I think that's just because it was a run-heavy game script for Chicago.
Right. And then it's about how you operate in the red zone. So, if they leave, they putting up threes instead of sevens, which I'm just hoping,
right.
I'm smacking that. I like a lot of the over unders this week. Like, I like I usually like hitting overs, but that Saints Chargers unders looking pretty smooth too. I'm gonna dabble in that. I think it's at about 40.5.
Yeah. So for that Washington game,
it opened up at 44.
So that Washington game has 66% of the money is going to the under. 60%, no, take it back. 66% of the bets and 70% of the money is going to the under. For whatever it's worth.
That's cool. I'm not trying to, I'm usually Mr. Public, you know what I mean?
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I'm letting you know you're going contrarian. All right, and then my love or my lock, I guess, of the week. I don't believe in locks, but if I did believe in locks, it would be this one right here. The Saints, I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm gonna probably, before I put this, like, actually place this one, I'm gonna see who's going to be out for the game. But when I looked at this game and I saw how many players that they had injured, I was just like, there's no way that they can compete. with any NFL team that's reasonably healthy, there's no way that they can compete. Like these are all the players that they have questionable. Okay. So these are the players that might be able to play for them. But look at all the players that we already know are out. Like their roster is completely like depleted damn near. You know what I'm saying? Rashid Shaheed's gone. Derek Carr's not playing. Their team can't tackle. And we know all Harbaugh wants to do is run the ball. So this is just one of those situations where I just don't think they have enough talent, just based off of them being a depleted roster to compete with the Chargers coming off a bad loss Monday night. So it's just one of those situations where I think the Chargers kind of control the game, the majority of the game, and they probably get up two, 3 scores early. And Spencer Rattler, once he's in a pass heavy game script, isn't going to be able to do enough to keep up with the Chargers. You know what I mean? And I think that they could just cover that 7.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I mean, the Saints would be lucky to hit 10 points.
That's what I'm saying.
They'd be lucky, and that's why I like the under for this game. So I can see this being like a 27-3, 27-6. You know what I mean?
So think about this one, just to even paint the picture. In the game they just played, because I think Los Angeles and Denver for the most part are pretty similar teams in terms of what they want to do on offense when they are in control of the football game. They had 10 points in this game. This game they scored 27, but the defense scored basically 3 touchdowns for them. They had our special teams in defense. Rashid Shaheed scored a kick return, a punt return, and they had 2 pick sixes, or a pick 6, and then one that was like to the 20 or the 15.
And then that was Spencer's first game too. So
Right.
You also have that element of surprise that they don't have the luxury of having against a Chargers team where they should have won that game against the Cardinals. That's why I'm fading the Cardinals this week. But yeah, I could see it. I could see it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just thinking it's a similar game script that they barely get over 10, and Jim Harbaugh gets to 24 points, and he just runs the clock out. J.K. Dobbins, you can maybe get him for 2 touchdowns.
But please, I got him.
Oh, I didn't even know about that. But J.K. Dobbins, I mean, these cats let Javonte Williams go for 2 touchdowns and 88 yards. Right now,
what are you trying to say about Javonte, bro?
I mean, it was more so about their football team, their defense. They don't want to tackle anybody, and that's just what it is. They're a terrible tackling defense, and they actually lead the league in rushing yards right now, allowed per game. Their defense leads the league in rushing yards allowed per game. So I just think that all of that being said, and going up against Los Angeles, this is a smack city spot. Just as -7, and maybe even if you have to get a 7.5 come Sunday, once you know that the players are actually inactive, I'm gonna smack this. Like, I'm definitely gonna smack this one for sure.
Nah, I like it. I might parlay that in with the under.
Yeah.
So when are the Saints gonna commit to the rebuild, man? Because what are they doing?
I mean, this is what they do. They push money out. This is the Saints. They have an old team now, but again, before everyone got injured, 2 weeks into the season, people were like, "Oh, the Saints for real, Saints." Da, da, da. You know what I mean? Like, there was talk. Like, people thought that they
a lot of people but pointed out Derek Carr be doing this where he has those couple weeks where he's all world talent.
This ain't in Derek Carr's hands. He ain't played since the third quarter of week.
But when he did, he was. It's not like he left on a high. You know,
right?
But he was coming back down to earth, and then he was because they were shitting on him.
If they lose the game against the Chiefs, you know what I mean? Even after losing against Philly and Atlanta, they lose a game against the Chiefs, but you know what I'm saying? They win this game at Tampa Bay, and they win this, they still would be in good shape right now. They'd be 5-2. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if this isn't a Derek Carr thing. This is just they're depleted. Their roster is completely different than what their roster was the first 2 weeks of the season. You know what I mean? And it's gotten worse. I mean, they don't have Rashid Shaheed. they haven't had they've been 3 weeks without Chris Olave. Like these are cats that nobody can do anything without your key players. They lost their starting center, and I want to say like 2 other players on their offensive line. Like I'm not trying to shoot them bail necessarily, but at the same time, when you lose all of those guys,
Yeah,
and
I was talking about before that. Nah, bro, you trust me. Like I definitely get it. I'm surprised that I think the only reason why it's not higher than 7 is just because of how Harbaugh
the
wants
Chargers play.
to, yeah,
Yeah,
how he wants to run that offense, or it'd be even higher at home
yeah,
after
yeah.
that
So
letdown. So
I just think this is a nice little spot for Los Angeles. Like again, they didn't have like last week, they didn't even have enough bodies to compete. At least now they have Chris Olave, so he can maybe make a game, maybe he can score a touchdown for him or something. But yeah, and then also Alvin Kamara out here playing with a broken wrist. Like, you know what I mean? It's just right now. This is the best time to see New Orleans. Like it just is. They're just in a bad spot right now, and it's a game of nutrition. That's how it goes sometimes.
no, for sure. But yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. So we kind of touched on 2 games, over unders and the spreads. That Washington Bears, you like the Bears, I like the over. For the Saints Chargers, you like the Chargers to cover, and I like the under. So point that out. And then besides that, I got the Dolphins to cover at home against the Cardinals. And then what was your last pick?
My last pick was the was in New Orleans, Los Angeles. My first pick,
Yeah.
my
I mean, it's
first pick. Oh yeah, it was Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay
Tampa Bay.
to
Yeah.
upset the Atlanta Falcons. But I mean, again, you don't have
That's
to
an
put Tampa Bay
important ass
money line.
game. That's an important ass game. What did you say?
Right. I say you don't have to do the money line. You can go ahead and take the points, 2.5. But yeah, I do think this is one that Tampa Bay ends up winning outright though.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's going to be close. But yeah, I could see them squeaking that one out. And you said Atlanta won the first one?
Yeah, that was the overtime game, the Thursday night overtime game.
Oh,
Remember,
yeah,
the Tampa Bay was up the almost the entire time, and then in overtime, it gets in
They
the
snuck that
OT.
shit
And,
out.
yeah,
Yeah. So they have been pretty lucky, kind of similar to the Cardinals. So you're kind of fading. Yeah, I feel like our minds are kind of aligned this week in terms of what we feel like fading and all that. So yeah,
well, Miami's getting healthier. Tampa Bay ain't necessarily getting the healthiest, but I just think that they got enough to still pull this one off.
yeah. It opened up at -6. That's interesting.
Yeah.
-6 and got bet down. People high on the Cardinals.
Well, it's because they saw them win Monday Night Football. Some like you know what I mean when your national televised game, everybody sees you make plays. That's what's fresh in their mind. So, boom.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But yeah, like love lock. Those are our like love locks. You got anything else?
That's it. Yeah, but that's it. Yeah, that's it for the most part.
All right, that's a bet. Well, like and subscribe. We'll be back with like a sleeper fantasy show here later in the week. It's getting tight in terms of the season, but especially the fantasy season. We're almost at the halfway mark of the year, so we're past the halfway mark in terms of the fantasy regular season. So we're going to touch on some trade targets, some sleepers that you want to have on your bench, some good handcuffs. We're going to get into all of that. So like and subscribe. And matter of fact, we out.
Matter of fact, we out.